A variety of flowers will make their way into the hands of loved ones today. But have you ever asked yourself, where do the beautiful bouquets come from? If so, we have the answer coming up. President Biden is meeting with New York City's new mayor tomorrow to discuss the wave of gun violence plaguing American cities. Illegal guns are a big part of the problem, especially ghost guns that can be easily purchased with no background checks. CBS's Jeff Paggs has an exclusive interview with a top federal official in charge of getting those guns off our streets. Alpena Public Schools will have an increased police presence on December 17th. According to the school's Facebook page, threats began circulating on the social media app TikTok, urging students to take part in what is being called National Shoot Up Your School Day. At this time, the Michigan State Police and Alpena Police Department have not identified a credible threat, but will expand security as a safety precaution. The federal government says U.S. population growth is the lowest it's been since the founding of our nation. And they say COVID is one of the leading factors for the decline. This comes as the Omicron variant is now sweeping across the country, forcing the Biden administration to respond. Natalie Brand has more details from the White House. The U.S. Department of Education released a grant opportunity to help schools recover from the effects of COVID-19. Earlier today, we had a chance to sit down with Alpena Public Schools Communication Director Lee Fitzpatrick to find out how COVID impacted APS schools and how the grant could potentially help. You can see right behind me, we've got two Michigan State police officers. They are manning the home where Bryn Bill's body was found on Naylor Road.
We are no longer investigating Bryn Bills as a missing person. Unfortunately, we are now investigating her as a suspicious death. Our thoughts and prayers are with the Bills' family and friends as we move forward in our investigation.
Officers received an anonymous tip that led to a search warrant where Bill's body was found.
At approximately 3:30 p.m., human remains were found buried on the property, and they were believed to be Bryn Bills based on tattoos located on the deceased body.
The house where Bills was found belongs to 34-year-old Joshua Wergo, who is now considered a person of interest by the police. Bill's remains have been transferred to Western Michigan University for an autopsy that will reveal the cause of death. And as always, we will continue to update you on this story. In Alpena, Jatine Tinsley, WBKB News. It's the official day of love, also known as Valentine's Day, and I'm here at Lasting Expressions to find out how flowers make the day just a bit more special. Nothing says be mine like a 1,000-mile journey to make it into your arms, or in this case, your vase. Lasting Expressions flower designer Tara Wilson tells us how the flowers make it from a faraway journey to Alpena.
The flowers are actually grown, almost 90% of them, in South America, and they are flown or shipped here. And so they come here, they go into ports, or they get off the airports and things like that, and then they're sent to the distributing centers. The distributing centers bring them up to us.
Now that the flowers have arrived safely in Alpena, customers have a tough decision to make. Between roses, carnations, orchids, and more, how's a girl or guy to choose? Flower designer Wilson tells us what to consider when buying flowers for a loved one.
Carnations and daisy mums or chrysanthemums, they last the longest. So if you're looking for longevity, those are a good standby, and they're just super hardy, and they're going to last the longest out of any flower. This is a carnation, and these yellow, those are daisy mums, and they're our longest lasting flowers.
Despite the recommendation, some customers are more apt to choose roses, and with good reason.
Giving them to Mom.
Ooh, and why are you giving those to Mom? Do you know why?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he loves them.
While you can't argue with what Mom loves, you can apply these tips to help the flowers last as long as possible.
If you're able to recut stems and then change the water, you can get about 2 weeks out of the flowers.
In Alpena, Jatine Tinsley, WBKB News. Hundreds of people gathered here in Mayo, Michigan at Lost Creek Sky Ranch to honor Bryn Bills. It was a day filled with Bill's favorite things: family, friends, food, music, and games.
What a cornhole tournament. We got second.
We got first place in the cornhole tournament. We won $100.
Friends and family spoke about the things that set Bills apart, things that made her shine, and most importantly, the reasons they'll miss her.
Her smile, her beautiful green eyes. I love taking pictures of her eyes. Oh my gosh. I'll miss her personality. I'll miss how that she was anybody she wanted to be. There wasn't just one version of Bryn. She was many versions of the best Bryn.
Before the night was over, there was one more thing left to do: celebrate Bill's birthday. Happy birthday to you! After the traditional birthday song, guests went outside to light lanterns in memory of the vibrant teenage girl with the startling green eyes who died just short of her 18th birthday. The family hosted a private auction where participants could win items like this gift basket. All the proceeds will go towards Bill's final expenses. In Mayo, Michigan, Jatine Tinsley, WBKB News. As you can see, I'm already suited, but I'm about to get booted to teach you guys how to ski in a Northeast Michigan winter. First up, we're going to put our ski boots on. We have a few tips from Otsego Ski Resort instructor Josh Minkus on how to secure the boot properly.
Well, it depends on what kind of boot you have, but typically you want it unbuckled, and it's always good to open it up wide and make sure it fits snug, but you don't want it to be too tight. So.
Now, before we head down the hill, it's only right to quiz instructor Josh and see how dedicated he is to his sport. Trick question, can you ski backwards?
I can ski backwards, so I can keep my eyes on you and my eyes down the hill.
Now that instructor Josh has passed our test, we head outside and take in the beautiful view of the hills before picking out the highest ski run to gracefully glide down. Just kidding, if only it were that easy. Let's go back, we missed a few steps. Now that the boots are on, line your skis up and press the boot into the ski. Make sure you hear a click. They call this the duck walk. It helps you get comfortable with the skis on. Next, we learned how to pizza. It's the move that allows skiers to stop. Now that we know that, it's time to go down the hill. But first, a few words of encouragement from 20-year ski veteran Ken Pelosa.
Well, you shouldn't be scared to give it a try. They have hills, smaller hills for beginners, and that's where you need to focus on. Because the worst case over there, you sit down on your behind, or you fall down, you don't hurt yourself. You know, a good instructor is instrumental. You learn the safety tips, as you guys were going over earlier, you said. And, you know, this is the way to enjoy Michigan in the winter.
Now it's time to go. Head to the top of the smallest hill, lean forward a bit, and enjoy the ride down. We conquered cold, we conquered skiing, but most of all, we conquered fear. Jatine Tinsley, WBKB News. On the heels of the Oxford High School shooting, we talked to Alpena Public School Superintendent David Rabideau about school safety and what's being done and how they're protecting your kids.
Some regional districts have come together, AMA, Alcona, Atlanta, Hillman, ACC, and our emergency management in Alpena County. Last month we actually met to talk about coordinating our response to crises should it arise. And so, you know, this serves as quite a reminder that we were on the right track, and we're meeting again next week to keep doing that work. So.
Additionally, APS works with public safety officials that include police, fire, and sheriffs who assist with crisis development plans.
We have to develop an emergency operation plan, and we do that. Every district does that in partnership with their local public safety.
Alpena High School junior Saray Gagnon was surprised by the Oxford school shooting, but doesn't feel threatened when attending classes.
I generally feel pretty safe at school, especially since now they're doing more to protect us from any threats.
For security purposes, Rabideau did not share his crisis plan with us, but he did have this to say.
And then with a lockdown drill, which is, if someone's in the building, we would go into lockdown, so we practice that on a regular basis.
At this time, APS is not considering installing metal detectors in any of its schools, despite some parents who believe it could offer a mild form of additional protection. However, there is one thing we can all agree on.
I just think it's a tragedy that should be taken very seriously in all schools, and because you never know which school could be next.
Alpena Public Schools say they will continue to make safety a top priority. In Alpena, Jatine Tinsley, WBKB News. Millions of women spend tons of money on products like these, but today the buck stops here. Officially called SB 153, the bipartisan package will repeal the tax on menstrual products.
Well, I think it's awesome. It's about time somebody stepped up to the plate.
For decades, the taxation of menstrual products has gone back and forth in legislature, with many women citing the tax is unfair.
I think that it's great that she finally did this, because females should not have to pay taxes on something they didn't have a choice on, and no one else has to pay for it. Like men, they don't have to pay taxes on something like this. So I think it's really important that she did that.
Research shows that low-income women are most affected by the taxation of menstrual products.
We don't have taxes on things like groceries, gasoline, things that we need every day, and there's no woman in the world who chooses to have a period. So I think it's great that we don't have to be charged extra just for living our daily lives every month.
Over the course of a lifetime, it is estimated that women pay close to $5,000 on taxes for period products. You can expect to see the price drop on products in 90 days. In Alpena, Jatine Tinsley, WBKB News.